Today I'm going to show you how to take these simple ingredients and turn them into 5 delicious portable biscuit meals. To make these meals, you're going to need sliced cheese. I got the American cheese, a can of diced tomatoes, a can of tuna, your favorite barbecue sauce. We like Sweet Baby Ray's sweet and spicy, some eggs, some pork sausage, a bag of the sliced peppers and onion mix, a bag of the country gravy sausage mix, some shredded cheese. I got mozzarella, and you're going to want at least 2 cans of biscuit dough. If you don't have cans or you're shopping at Dollar Tree, you could use bisquick mix. That would work just as well and be just a little more time mixing it all together. I'm going to first preheat my oven to 350 degrees. 350 degrees. There we go. Then you're going to want to prepare your sheet pan with some parchment paper on it. First up, you're going to cook your sausage and drain any excess grease. In one bowl, I'm going to go ahead and whip up one of my eggs. This will be your egg wash to help your different things that you're making to brown and look all lovely on the top. We're going to open our can of biscuits. The first meal we're making are these barbecue bombs. You're going to take a biscuit, flatten it out, and put a healthy scoop of the sausage on top. Then you're going to add about a tablespoon of the barbecue sauce on top. I added just a little bit more than I probably would have liked if I was making this recipe again. So 1 tablespoon will definitely do it. Then you're going to pull the edges together and press them together so that they seal. This is quite the challenge one-handed, but with 2 hands, it became a lot easier. Once you've got the edges all sealed, you'll take your barbecue bomb and put it onto your sheet pan. Then I made a couple of vertical slices into the dough. I just like how it looked, and I think it also lets some of the steam escape so that the dough doesn't become soggy inside. I added another one, and now we're on to the next recipe. This one's a pizza pretzel. You're going to take your dough and you're going to stretch it out. Now, I like to include my fails as well as my successes, so this is one of my slight fails because I say slight because I tweaked the recipe, but at the beginning I just took the dough and I pressed it out and I added diced tomatoes and other things, but I found quickly that as I was adding these different ingredients, all the water and moisture in them was making the dough soggy and making it really hard to work with. So I took a couple of peppers and onions, I added those in. I took a little bit of Italian seasoning, added that in. It was just a pinch, and I added about a tablespoon of the shredded mozzarella as well. I will show you how I tweaked this recipe so that it did not fail in the end. But this first one, yeah, it turned out a little interesting, as you will see. So once I put everything in a line, I attempted to close the edges. My thought was to make it a little bit like a stuffed crust pizza would be, except for with veggies and other things in there, and just make it in the shape of a pretzel. So here I am attempting to close it and seal it. As you can see, it really is resisting sealing, and that's because it was so wet. There were so many ingredients in there that were wet, and it was making the dough really soggy, so I ended up making a blob. So here's try number 2. This time I was smart and added a little bit of flour to the surface. Then as I was rolling it out, I made sure everything was coated with flour, flattened it out, and this time when I added my ingredients, I took a paper towel and I dabbed and got all that excess moisture out. This was key, so it's crucial. So I learned my lesson that biscuit dough and wet ingredients don't mix as well, so definitely make sure you dry your ingredients. As you can see, this time it worked much better. If your dough resists being formed and springs back, which you can kind of see this dough is a little bit resisting form, you just have to let it rest. It's because the gluten molecules in there are so tight and stiff that you have to wait until they have a chance to rest, and then they will be able to be formed into any shape you want them to be in. Our next one is going to be Tuna Twist. This is a mimic of a recipe that I kind of grew up with. We took about 2 tablespoons of tuna and 2 tablespoons of the chopped up tomatoes, and I did drain any excess moisture. As you saw, they were on a paper towel already, just to learn my lesson. I learned my lesson from the last recipe. So then I just flattened them all out, and I added a couple of slices of the American cheese on top. I grew up with a recipe very similar to this. We took, growing up, we would take 2 halves of a English muffin, toast them, put some tuna salad on it, and a slice of tomato, and then a slice of American cheese, and we would toast that until the cheese was all melty. So this was mimicking that. It kind of brought back some childhood memories, so that was really delicious to me. My husband thought it was a little weird, so if you don't like tuna, or the combination is weird to you, then it might not be for you, but it was really good to me. So then I just twisted it, and I made a second one. The next thing we're making are these breakfast bites. We took out a bunch of the sausage because we didn't need quite as much. I quickly learned that we only use a little bit of the ingredients in each of these recipes. So if you look at the sheet pan and think, oh, that can't be 5 meals, that's not enough, then just think you have plenty of leftover ingredients. You could make more. I just didn't need quite as much because we're only 2 people, but you definitely could make more. I took my biscuit and cut it into 4s, and then just kind of flattened out each piece. Then I put a healthy scoop of my sausage and egg mixture on each of the pieces, added a small slice of the American cheese on top, and then I sealed each bomb. And these made such a delicious breakfast for me. The next day, they reheated really well, if you were wondering, and I think they could also freeze based on the ingredients that I have frozen in the past. So these would make a really portable, easy breakfast. Next, we're making the sausage and gravy boats. The sausage and gravy boats were really delicious. I used about a tablespoon of our packet of gravy mix, and I just mixed it in with the meat. This just helps to coat the meat so that it won't create a lumpy gravy. After everything was all mixed thoroughly, I added about 1/3 a cup of water to the mix and made sure and stir it thoroughly. This reduced down so that it wasn't as watery. My husband actually thought that it could use a little more gravy, so maybe I shouldn't have reduced it down quite as much, but I thought it was pretty good as is. You're going to take your biscuits and you're just going to flatten the center. You won't flatten the edges. This will create a little indentation, a little boat for your gravy. I decided to transfer these onto the sheet and then flatten them out, as I saw that they would spring back whenever I was pulling them back up. And this is what we wound up with. Now I put about 2 tablespoons of that sausage and gravy mixture inside. These were really delicious. I felt like they were a really filling meal, and because of the way that they were formed and everything, and the fact that the gravy wasn't as watery, it actually made a really portable breakfast. I know lately I've been really busy, and having portable meals, especially at work where we might not have a break to sit and eat, is really helpful for me. Now I'm just going in with my egg and brushing it on top of all of these little biscuits. Now the egg wash is really crucial if you want these to brown and be like really golden brown, like you will see in a few minutes. I will never forget the egg wash again, because this really made everything look so appetizing and delicious. Now it's going into my oven for 20 minutes at 350 degrees, and my oven has a hot spot on the right hand side, so I did flip it halfway through, but it looks delicious when it comes out. Look at how nice and golden it is. Everything turned out so well. The barbecue bombs did open up a little bit, but they still tasted delicious, and they were still very portable and like finger food friendly. As you saw, we only used a fraction of the ingredients in making this pan, so you would definitely be able to make many more of these sheet pans worth of meals if you just had some more of the biscuits. I ran out of biscuits, and we also are only 2 people, so I didn't need to make quite as much of everything. But if you wanted to make a huge meal of these biscuits or any of these recipes, you definitely could. We have plenty of ingredients left to do so. And it wouldn't be a cooking video if I didn't show you how everything pulled apart. I hope you all enjoy these recipes and get to try them. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you all in the next one.